Most people overlook just so many key features when simply looking for the right laptop to use in college or one that can handle basic school workload. Which is why in this video, I'll run you down through some of the best student laptops you can buy for each category and what you need to look out for to find the right one for you. You can find links to all of the laptops mentioned in the video in the description below, along with good student deals and coupons you can take advantage of. But without further ado, let's dive right in. Starting off with the best cheap laptop is the Acer Chromebook Plus 514. If you are really minding your budget, but still don't want to compromise with the poor performance in return, this Acer's Chromebook will give you a pretty good day-to-day use with a few modern touches you don't usually find at this price point. It comes with a 14-inch Full HD IPS touchscreen, which is crisp and bright enough for the most part, and its matte coating here will keep glare to a minimum, and these are all small details that make the machine feel more expensive than its plastic shell suggests. It's powered by Intel's octa-core Core i3 N305, which is backed up by 8GB of RAM plus a 128GB SSD, and this can easily manage dozens of Chrome tabs at the same time, plus comfortably run Google's AI-powered Gemini tools without all the stutters that comes with most budget laptops. Acer also complements all those smart features with a surprisingly sharp 1080p webcam and the rare inclusion of Wi-Fi 6E, HDMI, dual USB-C ports, which is okay for this price, and even a legacy USB-A port, which means you don't have to carry dongles everywhere you go. Battery life hovers around 11 to 12 hours in mixed basic use, which can easily cover you an entire day of classes, though this might drop down quickly if you handle heavy tasks. Now for the low price here, expect a few compromises. For starters, the chassis is sturdy but plastic, and the keyboard here, while comfortable, lacks backlighting. Likewise, color reproduction is still fine for spreadsheets and essays, but muted for anything approaching professional photo work. For the most part, this laptop is for those who are on a tight budget and can't justify spending extra for powerful hardware they'll never use. It's the best you can get for basic school productivity and nothing more. So don't expect premium metal finishes or the utmost horsepower, and you'll walk away impressed by how much laptop Acer managed to squeeze into such a modest price. Up next is the Dell 14 Plus as the best for coders or developers. If you're looking for an even more beefy hardware to handle coding or even web development, for example, this machine from Dell is very much a coder's daily driver. It comes with a 14-inch 2.5K res screen, which isn't as vivid as what you'd get with an OLED screen instead, but the text in IDEs is incredibly clean. Plus, you do get Dell's Comfort View Plus coating, which will keep marathon reading sessions easy on the eyes. Powered by an Intel Core Ultra 7 258V, plus up to 32GB of LPDDR5X RAM, and a built-in 1TB SSD, this translates to giving you just an incredibly responsive feel when compiling large projects or even using a ton of browser tabs simultaneously. They also integrated Intel Arc graphics, which isn't designed for intensive gaming though, but it still helps a lot in accelerating light ML workloads and hardware-encoded video previews nicely. Battery life is rated at the 9 to 12 hour range in mixed dev work, so it's more than enough to code unplugged for an entire workday before needing to recharge. The design here is also going to be really good for most developers' real-world workflow, as the keyboard here has crisp tactile feedback with full-size arrow keys, plus bright backlighting that will help so much if you use it at night. Something special that Dell also added is a built-in NPU to manage all the AI tasks independently, ensuring your dev work from compiles to builds runs at full CPU speed without too much struggle. Ports here include the typical two USB Type-C ports, an HDMI 2.1 video output, a traditional USB Type-A port, and a 3.5mm audio jack. Both of the USB-C ports here are positioned on the left side, though a split placement across both edges would have provided even more flexibility when connecting the power adapter. Now, while the matte IPS panel covers the sRGB gamut well enough for UI work, most will miss OLED-level contrast and DCI-P3 coverage, given it's in the same price point as the MacBook Air, for example. Likewise, while the Core Ultra chip here is one of the best performing in terms of code compilation, it still isn't a substitute to a discrete GPU when it comes to heavy 3D rendering or even AAA gaming. But if your sole purpose is a machine that is capable to do dev work or code compilation, the Dell 14 Plus justifies its price point a lot than most of the competition. And at number 3 is the Asus VivoBook 16 as best mid-range. If you want something that gives you a little bit more performance than the budget options, this Asus VivoBook 16 bridges this gap pretty well for most people. Driving it is an 8-core chip AMD Ryzen 7, which is incredibly good at everyday multitasking and light creative tweaks without causing too much struggle on the laptop. And pair that with a roomy 1TB SSD, this means large files will load quickly and you can stash semesters worth of projects before even thinking about external storage. The only real issue is the 8GB of RAM here, which is fine for browser tabs and office work, but if you need that extra power, you may want to pop in an extra stick to unlock the dual channel bandwidth. The display here is nothing over the board gorgeous like an OLED panel, but it does look incredibly good on the most part. Plus the anti-glare display here means you can use it comfortably outside. You also get a fingerprint sensor which wakes the Windows 11 in a snap, Wi-Fi 6E that keeps Cloud Sync speedy, and a USB-C port for charging, plus a headphone combo which means you'll rarely reach for a dongle. Expect around 8 hours of mixed use on battery, which is good enough for a full day of classes with a mid-afternoon top-up, though intensive workloads will obviously take that down. Now, there are some trade-offs you should weigh in just like any other laptop. For starters, the integrated Radeon graphics rules out any heavy gaming or GPU-accelerated design, and the 720p webcam here is a bit mediocre, given its price range is almost the same as the MacBook M4 Air. And at number 3 is the Lenovo Chromebook Flex as the best under $500. For a little over $400, the Lenovo Flex 5i is easily one of the best value for money laptops you can buy, and especially if you don't see yourself spending anywhere over $500. It comes with a 14-inch touchscreen with pretty slim bezels, which gives you that extra vertical space, plus also supports USI stylus for when you go full tablet mode, although you will need to buy a USI pen separately. Powered by Intel's 13th Gen Core i3 with 6 hybrid cores, this means Chrome OS will run smoothly and very well capable of managing a ton of browser tabs, video calls, and Android apps without too much struggle. The 8GB of RAM here is also generous for a Chromebook and future-proofs the device for many Chrome OS updates to come as well. And when you combine that with its 128GB of storage, which is expandable via micro SD as well, it gives you good room for school files and apps, though this still isn't in the class of those lightning-fast NVMe drives seen in more pricier machines. Real-world battery life lands around 8 to 10 hours, enough for a full slate of classes if you dim the screen a notch, though a quick USB-C top-up will easily push it through the evening. Ports here include dual USB-C ports, a legacy USB-A, and Wi-Fi 6 support, which means you can dock to an external monitor, charge, and still leave room for a thumb drive handoff, so no dongle dance required. Compromises show up mostly at the margins though. For starters, the bright but basic IPS panel only covers about 45% NTSC, so photographers won't trust it for color grading. Likewise, the plastic here does dominate the chassis beneath the aluminum lid as well. And at 3.6 pounds, the Flex 5i is heftier than most 14-inch Ultrabooks, though it's still perfectly portable. None of those caveats still overshadow how much value you get with this laptop. And if you want an affordably priced Chromebook that can morph from note-taking laptop to after-hours streaming tablet without the common struggling, the IdeaPad Flex 5i is a good laptop for most people. And topping our list is the M4 MacBook Air as the best premium. Apple laptops tend to be ridiculously expensive up front, but if you can afford to splurge a little bit over $800 or even get a refurbished model, not a lot of competitors can beat its overall value. It comes with the popular 13.6-inch Liquid Retina display, which is known to give you that razor-sharp res, a wide gamut P3 color, and 500 nit brightness, which is plenty of punch for watching HDR movies or simply scrolling through dense lecture notes. Apple has really perfected their system chips over the years, and the M4 here can easily handle most of the workloads you throw at it with little trouble, even some light video editing or 3D graphics. Plus, this is a fanless device, so you won't have to worry about causing too much noise in classrooms and libraries. The Air can still pull off anywhere from 15 to 17-hour workday runtime before needing you to seek MagSafe, which is easily one of the best battery life performance you can get with a productivity laptop. You also get the backlit Magic Keyboard, which remains as the best in class, especially when typing, a Touch ID sensor to unlock macOS Sequoia quickly, and the haptic Force Touch trackpad, which is just so smooth and responsive compared to many rivals. Plus, the 12-megapixel center stage camera means all your video calls here will be incredibly sharp and properly framed. Ports are limited though, as you only get 2 USB-C ports, but the most notable change here is the dual external 6K display support while using the built-in screen. Now, compromises here are a bit predictable. For starters, the base 256GB SSD fills quickly, and upgrading either storage or RAM is pricey and permanent thanks to Apple's soldered design. But you can always avoid paying more by just getting a really good external SSD like the Samsung Shield, which we've included a link in the description, and this won't be as expensive as bumping up directly from Apple. If you prefer a Windows machine though, or tend to avoid MacBook laptops entirely, the best alternative here would be the Microsoft Surface Laptop 7th Edition. In many ways, it gives you an even better user experience than the MacBook Air, sporting a brighter 120Hz touchscreen, a more comfortable keyboard, and a wider port selection. And unlike most Windows laptops, this 7th edition model uses an ARM-based Qualcomm chip, so performance isn't a problem. But since most programs don't run natively on an ARM processor, you might encounter apps that don't run at all or perform poorly, so it's always best to check with your school or professor regarding compatibility. But that wraps up our video of the best student laptops you can buy so far. If you found our video helpful, leave a like and share it, as this helps the channel a lot. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a future laptop video, and let us hear what you have to say in the comments down below of what you think of these picks. But until then, stay safe and see you in the next video.